It's a recurring pain, isn't it? Everyone always says, oh, I love what you've done. Amazing. Now, how do I export it into Excel? Oh, can I just get that, dump that into Excel and I'll do my own analysis on it? Yeah, that's what I'll do. Yeah, just put it into Excel. Right? There are so many things wrong with that nowadays. There's no reason, there's no benefit. You have to stop it. Is there a way we can stop it though in Power BI that isn't going to actually destroy our business and also is actually going to make our customers get more out of the solution that we've put in place? So you want to be a Power BI developer. We can see it cross highlights, fact and dimension. The visual calculations. We've got time intelligence within there. Let's just get right down to it. Let's start simple. The answer, my friend, is yes. Hello, my name's Ross Waterston, the creator and founder of Geordie Consulting and Geordie Intelligence, the YouTube channel you're watching now. Yes, it's the simplest answer out there. In terms of export to Excel, that is a legacy thing. We should be avoiding it. There will, of course, always be times when we need to do it. There are times when we need to do an audit, we need to do a deep dive, we need to try and validate stuff where export to Excel is still probably the best way to do it. Okay, but your average user who's going to use your report content, who has a Power BI subscription, they should not just be exporting to Excel as their job number one. Okay, very specific use cases, very specific requirements that would still be benefiting from export to Excel. For everyone else, how about this? I put this together just based on the Newcastle Parkruns data. Here we've got the finishing time in terms of by minute, by men and women. And we can then break that down by different events. So Denton Dean, Jesmond Dean, Leazes Park. We can see going back to Town Moor, we can go back and see what happened in their first year. So in 2010 versus in 2020 versus in, we can do all that, okay? And all of this is done in an Excel spreadsheet. But what I've not done is I haven't downloaded any data. There's no extra tabs at the bottom here, okay? We've got finished times and we've got finished numbers. And as I say, I've got another sheet here just with the number of people who finished at each event for each person. And we can then see and track and we'd be able to look and say, oh, well, which event's better for their first event? All those kind of things we can do. We can break it down by age group as well. So we can look at juniors, seniors, veterans. Easy to do, but it's all in Excel. And I haven't imported data into Excel. What I've done instead is I've connected Excel to my semantic model. So my source of truth, my official set of numbers, connected Excel to it, and we can then build pivot tables on top of it, which realistically, for most people doing analysis, pivot tables are probably where they're going to do a lot of that legwork to start with. So how do I do that? What do I need to do? Let's go to File, create a new spreadsheet. Here's a nice new blank spreadsheet. Nothing up my sleeves, you can see, okay? Nothing there. All I need to do here is go to the Data tab, Get Data, and then under Power Platform, you see we have here, from Power BI, and it tells you your tenants, in this case, Geordie Consulting. Click on it, and it will bring up, zoom out here, a list on the right-hand side of data sources or semantic models that I have access to. So for you, it'll be the ones you have access to. So I'm a developer, so I'll have lots. The idea being, of course, that your customers, maybe they'll have one or two. Again, this is why we talk about minimize the number of semantic models that you have in use across your business. The more you have, so you've got like this, where there's loads, it's going to be more difficult. If your customer goes and they say, well, great, okay, there's only one or two. Perfect. Okay, and you want to insert a pivot table. Insert table is there. I personally hate this. I wish Microsoft hadn't put it in. I understand why they did. It doesn't add value in a lot of ways, and it probably detracts from the value add that you get from this, and I wish there was a way of blocking this. If you know, put it down below in the comments, please, because everyone should know this. Block it if you can. Okay, anyway, I'm going to insert the pivot table. And so let's go with Sunderland Parkruns this time. Sunderland. So it's going to go and say, right, do you have rights to do it? Okay, I'm already logged in because I've just been in an Excel spreadsheet showing you the demo. If you haven't, it'll bring up a login screen. Just authenticate with your Power BI subscription credentials, and suddenly you see I have a pivot table, like any other pivot table, but there's no data. If we go and look at sheet 1, it's blank. There's nothing there. I can even delete sheet 1. Okay, there's no data being pulled through. The only data that will be in this spreadsheet is what's needed to build the pivot table. Okay, so the actual underlying data isn't there. The pivot table contents is what's there. And all you need to do when you come through is you go in and refresh all, but you can set up and tell it to refresh automatically on load. If we come here, we can see we want it to refresh periodically. We can do that. We can set this to refresh the data when opening the file. That's probably the one you want to do. Tick that, refresh when I open the file. Okay, click OK. So now I know whenever I open it, it'll be a bit slow, it'll be a bit sluggish. And on the bottom right, you'll see a little thing that'll say, oh, I'm just refreshing. And you won't be able to do anything while that's happening. But as long as you've only got 1 or 2 pivot tables, that's fine. If you have 20 or 30, well, you might want to change that. But the key thing is simple. I haven't had to do anything again. So what I can now say is, well, I want to see actually, let's see, completed volunteers across Sunderland. We can look up title, okay, which I know for the tracked events is the title, put that in as the columns, and then we could put in event. Okay, so event will give us the event number. So is it the first, the second, third, fourth? Yeah, so we can put these ones together. And we can see straight away, here we go, we've got Silksworth and Fulwell Quarry in. We've got this data. Brilliant, perfect. What more would I want? Okay, and we can start to piece together everything that's going on with this. And from doing simple things like that, and then I just save it, close it, I've got everything built. I'm not having to then export data, have it on my laptop, which it potentially is, you know, if this is parkrun data, this is very public websites. If you think this could be your individual specific sales data table with all the customer names, all the sales products, potentially other, you know, specifics about sales, all there on spreadsheets that are on laptops going around. If you don't think companies are concerned by that, why on earth do we do so much about physical security, about laptops? Why do you have two-factor authentication for you just logging into your laptop? Why do you have remote wipe capabilities? It's because of spreadsheets like that. Okay, you cannot underestimate the impact and risk that people doing that is. So you've seen, okay, we can easily produce spreadsheets that allow us to put content, make it available to me to do in an Excel background or an Excel tool and platform that I'm used to as a data user. So why would I want to do that? What happens when it's not there? What I need isn't available? Well, the point of this is our enterprise model. So if there's something that you as a data user need, but the model doesn't provide, what would you do today? The answer is clear, isn't it? We'd export the data to Excel, we'd produce the pivot tables, we'd produce the charts we needed, and we'd then produce PowerPoint content and use that to disseminate around the business. What you've then done is you've created a shadow reporting function. You've eroded the value of the core line of business enterprise data platform that you've built. Me saying, use the platform, put it in. If there's a gap, work with the team, right? Tell the team what the gap is. Because once we plug it in one place, and again, you can go with your Excel spreadsheet, build it, you've got your Excel spreadsheets, you've got your pivot tables you can do, you can show, oh, this is actually what the value should be. This is the logic that I went through and applied. That can be applied in the DAX model, which is then rolled into your main report pack. It's then available through this Excel algorithm. It then becomes part of the main tool. It's not a separate function. Because the issue with these separate functions is that over time, it goes from being 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 to 6 to 7 to 8. Okay, and before we know it, we've got our enterprise platform doing less and less and less reporting, and more reporting being delivered by these tactical, unmanaged, ungoverned solutions outside the enterprise platform. And then we're under pressure to cut costs and remove the data platform because no one uses it. What's the point of it? Even though technically it's actually the source for all of these other areas, but we're not using it. So when you use this mechanism, it's twofold increase or twofold benefit. You know, your security is better, it makes life easier for everybody, and it also improves the stability and longevity and return on investment of your enterprise data platform. If you liked what you've seen there, get in touch. Geordie Consulting are ideally placed to help baseline what it is you're doing today, work out how you can improve and put that into practice so you can take those next steps. If you want someone to get that, we're the ones to do it for you. For now though, stay safe, take care, ta-da.